Hey guys, super excited for today's episode. I have Dr. Lindsay Dirringer with Bottoms Up Physical Therapy back in the house with us today. We are going over men's pelvic floor health. I know that this is a women's, focused podcast, but learning how many men don't know anything about their pelvic floors either, we thought it would be an awesome opportunity to get that info out. So make sure you check out the episode and we'll see you there. All right, guys. So I am back today with Dr. Lindsay Dirringer from Bottoms Up Physical Therapy. Super stoked that she has come back around to hang out with us again. We are going to get into men's pelvic floor health. Yes, this is a platform built for women and our vaginas and everything we go through. But we thought it would be kind of cool to go over men's pelvic floor health because in all reality, I feel like most men don't know much about it either. And all of us women have some man in our lives, whether it's our partner, our dad, our brother, our son, our best friend, that they don't like to go to the doctor usually. And who do they usually complain to when they have issues but us? So I felt like, well, maybe we should know like a little bit more about what's going on. That way, when they come to us complaining about all the things and this is a potential fix, we could send them in the right direction. So thank you for being here with us.
I'm so happy to be here.
Super excited. Well, let's just dive in because I think there's a lot we can go over. So what role does men's pelvic floor health play for them versus women? Like, what does that look like?
It's not different.
Okay.
Men's pelvic floors do the exact same thing as women's do. So it dictates what can come out of your body. It helps things stay in your body when they need to stay. It helps your organs stay where they are, helps you with core stability and strength. And obviously there's a sexual part too.
Okay.
So men's pelvic floors are just as responsible as women's are for their health.
Yeah, see? And that's just so crazy.
I know.
Because, I mean, it was bad enough when I found out that most of us women didn't know anything, but I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've had quite a few, like, between my ex, my dad, my whatever, that I'm like, does that mean, what did you say is wrong? Maybe you need pelvic floor therapy. Maybe you're missing something.
Do you have a pelvic floor?
Right. Like, it's like crazy. And that's how they act. They're just like, well, what do you mean? That's like what?
It's a girl's thing.
What's happening? So no differences for men and women aside from obviously we have a vagina.
There are differences. Women won't have erectile dysfunction. We do have sexual dysfunction in, actually what turns out to be a semi-similar way, but we won't have the erectile dysfunction from that.
Okay.
And men have a prostate, and that can play a big role in pelvic floor dysfunction. Or their, prostate issues themselves can cause the problems, and then pelvic floor therapy is just a kind of a fix to the sequela of those issues. So there are differences, but the role of the pelvic floor is the same in male-bodied people as it is in female-bodied people.
Okay. Why is it important for men to be aware of their pelvic floor health, since I feel like they definitely are not aware at all?
Well, I think just like for women, it is going to be evident when you need to pay attention to it. I hope it's evident that when there is some issue with how much you're peeing or whether you're peeing or whether you're peeing on command or pooping on command or able to participate in sexual intercourse or whatever, I would hope that the symptoms kind of dictate the need for it. I think in women's health, like we're on this, at least I am on this kick right now. I guess I'll speak for myself. This journey right now of like, you have a pelvic floor and you should figure out what's going on there.
Yeah.
Generally, that's true for men too. I think men also really suffer from core stability. For women, I approach this as you're going to be having sex. You're going potentially to get pregnant one day. You are going to be doing yoga or weightlifting or whatever. And for men, I think the same like education component is true. What is safe, what is not safe, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. what is normal and what's not normal. And then also, I think a lot of the men that I'm seeing lately are really, really strong people who are putting so much pressure on their big muscle groups without the core strength to support it. And so their small muscle groups are the ones who are suffering. And ultimately, they're having back pain. Ultimately, they're having hip pain. And that might be kind of the one like big secret out there that for some reason we just don't talk about.
Yeah.
Like core strength, do your sit-ups or
Right.
something. Not useful.
All right.
So, you know, like in the absence of symptoms, I would say that just knowing what does your body need would be a worthwhile thing to figure out, whether it's with a pelvic floor specialist or by just knowing like how your body actually works.
Which is so weird that like we have to say that like we should probably know how our body works. But I feel like it's so common. Like we just like the like brain to like body, it like does not, it's like, oh, our bodies just do what they do. Like we don't question it. We don't really worry about it unless something's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, like we just kind of coast, which is just wild.
Being in PT school and learning things that I was like, I never would have ever thought to even question how that happened.
Yeah,
it just happens. And then learning it and being like, what? That is amazing.
So cool to like dive into so many things that like, that we just should know. It just makes sense.
They're very cool.
To like know what we're working with here.
Especially when you're going to increase demand, right? When you're going to put your body through something that is harder and harder or faster and faster or whatever, being able to support it as much as it's supporting you.
Aging, like, hello. Why? I mean, and here's the thing, like, obviously we shouldn't wait until we're aging to like think about it, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's like so many life changes that it's like, unless it's hitting you in the face, we just don't really care, you know? And I think that's culturally, we just are like, okay, just go. Okay, so common issues. What are common issues that men face that we can all like kind of be aware of? You know, so we have those little red flags when they're like, "Ooh, this hurts," and whatever, because they're so whiny. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I know.
We keep it real around here.
Common issues, I think the frequent peeing or the difficulty with peeing is a really common issue and often overdiagnosed, in my opinion, as prostatitis or chronic prostatitis or an enlarged prostate. And certainly chronic prostatitis can cause those symptoms, the kind of almost UTI type symptoms, like I gotta pee, but I'm not peeing and I can't pee, and but also so can high tone in the pelvic floor. And I read a study a million years ago that said that something like 50% of chronic prostatitis issues are actually tone in the pelvic floor. And in my clinic, I have not seen somebody for chronic prostatitis that has not been at least really aided by reducing tone in the pelvic floor.
Oh my gosh.
So and almost every male-bodied person will at some point encounter something that they blame on the prostate. And whether it's incontinence or retention.
Okay. So, probably silly question, but what is prostatitis? Like, I know they have prostate issues, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it simply would just be an inflamed prostate, enlarged inflamed prostate.
And so that makes, I mean, doesn't make sense, let's be real, that like that's the go-to, but like the connection, I'm like, okay, so if you're not peeing and it's because you have this pelvic floor issue, then like, yeah, that's gonna be inflamed, it's gonna be enlarged, it's gonna be angry.
Right.
So
the urethra, the male urethra passes right through the prostate.
Okay.
And so if the prostate is enlarged and the urethra comes right through it, then that center diameter gets smaller, right?
Yeah.
And however, if there's tone in the pelvic floor, things can be shifting and moving, and that urethra can kind of get kinked as well. And then if we can release that, then we make that passageway available. So even if it is a little bit shrunken, then it's at least more available for the passage of urine.
Yeah, see, that's just wild. Because I feel like prostate issues are so, like, you hear about it all the time. Like, it's always like,
All the time. Yeah.
but again, we've talked about this before. Like, why is it just like you just pick the one go to and like don't dive deeper? Like, I don't know. You guys are magical because
Well,
I mean,
I think it's all we had for a while.
yeah,
Maybe we are
yeah,
magic, but we're also pretty new to the world
yeah,
of medicine, particularly, men's health.
right.
So I wish I knew the history on
Okay.
like who figured it out. I should go dig that paper up and see who wrote it. I wonder who was the person
Yeah,
to be
what
like, wait,
genius was
let's
like, let
just
me
reconsider. Like, we know
connect.
that this is a cause and it's the only cause that we know of, but I wonder if there's something more. I wonder who that
Yeah.
person was.
Well, thank goodness for them,
Yeah, right?
for sure. Okay, so peeing and men, what's normal for them? What's not? Like, what should they be alarmed? Obviously, if they're just not peeing, then okay, there's clearly an issue. But like, I feel like if I asked a man, they wouldn't really know what is considered normal for
Yeah,
them.
you might be surprised that, like, I mean, I think you're right that people don't know what's normal, but I think people have an innate sense when something is really not normal of like, oh, I wonder if something is wrong with me.
Yeah.
And I think men in this way are actually at a disadvantage. I never, ever, ever say that. I never say that. But in this way, men are at a disadvantage. Women feel connected to one another in a way that promotes discussion of difficult topics.
Yes.
And I don't know that men frequently do. So the men that I see in my office are almost always kind of like qualifying their questions or qualifying their experience. Like, I don't know if this is normal. Do I even say this? Is it okay to mention?
Oh, see.
I realize that it's like the doctor's office, and I'm a girl, right? I don't know how uncomfortable it is
Yeah.
for a male-bodied person to see a female therapist. I don't know. I'm sure it's different from person to person. But the women that I see are very much like, this is happening. Not cool.
Totally.
My sister isn't having this issue. My best friend isn't having this issue. My mom said it's normal. That's not cool.
Right? This cannot be normal.
Yeah. Please don't tell me this
Oh
is
my
normal.
gosh.
Women, I mean, I think who are there for symptoms are more frequently like, I have talked about this and I've
Yes.
realized that I need to see you. And men are more commonly like, I have not talked about this. I don't know if this is normal. I don't know what it's supposed to be like.
Totally.
Can
I
I
mean,
tell
that's
you what I'm experiencing?
the
And
basis for doing this. You know what I mean? Is
Totally.
like, women, it's, which thank goodness, we talk about it, especially when it comes to peeing. You know what I mean? It's so like, I
it's
just peed a little.
I
Like,
know, I know.
no big deal.
It is funny, and also
Yeah.
it makes me a little bit crazy.
Totally. Absolutely.
What
I'm
the man
glad that we
said.
can laugh about it, right? I'm glad that we're not, I mean, I'd rather laugh than cry. But at the same time, like, it's not, we could fix it. There are options. But yeah, I imagine for men, they're not like sitting around, drinking their coffee in the morning with
No.
their coworkers.
If a cis man said, I just laughed so hard I peed, we'd be like,
Yeah. We're like, what is happening?
wrong crowd, bro.
I'm sorry. What? Uh-huh. Okay.
I mean, in my office, you can say that, but
Totally. And here at Healthy Kitty Club, we
Yeah,
can
that's
absolutely
right.
go there. But okay, so I'm sorry, I totally interrupted
So
you.
what's
but
normal?
So
No, you didn't interrupt me
Yes.
at all. This is a conversation. What's normal? Normal, similarly, like 2 to 6 hours between voids. And I think for men, we tend to put a little bit more emphasis on like how quickly your urine stream can come. So I don't know of like a number of seconds or whatever, but if you can't pee when you decide to pee, if you're standing there for like seconds on end trying to get your stream to start, that's atypical and that should probably be checked out.
Okay.
Also, if you know that you really have to pee and you're having a super weak urine stream or dribbles, that's a problem.
Ah.
Let's see. Yeah, as far as urine is concerned, similar to women for what's normal. And the bladder can hold the same amount in men and women. So
Okay.
voiding, we all kind of grow up with a sense of like, I think, of what like a large amount of urine or a small amount of urine is, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that is not commensurate with what your experience is. And so if your knowledge of what a full bladder is and what you're avoiding and your experience in that moment are not the same, then that's a good time to look into it.
We should pay attention
Yeah.
to what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And leakage is never normal for men either.
Yeah. So
And
they
it
do have
happens in a shocking
leakage
number of male
issues.
athletes, yes.
Oh, athletes are a
Athletes
big
and people
one.
with back pain.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is it? I mean, the back pain. Knowing what I know now, because I feel like I'm like a pelvic floor expert. I get like I feel like I connect the back pain, right? Like your muscles are tight and all the things, but like, what's with athletes? Why is that like a
The
typical
demand is
issue
really
for them?
high.
Okay.
The demand for your core is really high. And I think I touched on it briefly. Like men in particular seem to have more frequently the goal of like stronger,
Yeah.
more weight. Um, and they focus on the muscles that you can see, tends to be, right? Like women do too. We focus
Totally.
on the muscles that we can see. But I think that the drive to do more is it's really important to match that with what your like core can handle. And I
Right.
never mean your abs when I'm talking about core. I mean pelvic
Yeah.
floor, the little tiny muscles in your back, the like the abdominal, deep abdominal wall muscles.
Yeah. The whole thing that holds us up.
Yeah, right, that part.
The like base of all the things.
Right.
Well, and when you say that, it's like I feel like for women, it's such a conversation, not just with women, but men on like how tight you are. And don't get me wrong, I want to be strong, right?
Right.
Like I want a strong kitty. Am I worried about having a tight kitty for whoever? No, I'm not. I want to be strong so that I am not peeing a little because I laugh all the time. I live a crazy life. You know what I mean? Like I can't imagine. But I feel like it's just like such a known from very early on that like, oh, women get loose. You know what I mean? She's had a baby. She's, it's like
Used up.
it's like a giant cave in there where like there's not conversations like that happening about men and their pelvic anything. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, men, you need to tighten up your whatever, or somebody, we might not want to have sex with you. But like the reverse is like, oh no, we
Well,
need to know what's going on down there.
for better or worse, like women might get flack for losing their collagen, I don't know. But men actually just can't have sex when they have sexual dysfunction that's from their pelvic floor. So like just shut up about it, dudes.
Yeah. Totally. Leave us alone.
Leave us alone. I still have my vagina. It still
Right.
works.
I was just going to say, mine is doing all the things it's supposed to. Thank you very much.
But I'll think like really like sexual dysfunction is a symptom of pelvic floor dysfunction and should be checked out, and it doesn't have to be that way, and all those sort of things that
Well, I'm
should
going
be
to touch on
saying,
that because
yeah.
I have you know me now. I want to know all the things.
Yeah.
Okay, so symptoms wise, aside from the peeing, we've covered that. What other symptoms indicate a potential issue, or just a general reason to like, hey, maybe you should just go see a pelvic floor therapist and like check things out? Because let's not wait until the alarms are blaring, right? Like, what can they look for, or what can we listen for?
Yeah.
That like, hey, that might be something.
I'm always listening for back pain and hip pain.
Okay.
I was collecting like statistics on like who actually has pelvic floor dysfunction, and the statistics are staggering for people with back pain. They're staggering for athletes. I just in my mind was like, I'm just going to write this down. 100% of people who have back pain and hip pain have pelvic floor dysfunction. I don't know if that's true.
Gosh.
As far as I know, nobody's done a study on it. You can't escape the pelvic floor.
Yeah.
If you're in between the back and the hip, you're in the pelvic floor. So I like if you have that dyad, then, and certainly if there's a triad, if there's an objective pelvic floor dysfunction symptom along with that. But I would say that if you're having back pain or hip pain, and certainly both, then the pelvic floor is probably getting involved, if not responsible.
Okay.
So that would be a really good thing. That would be a really good thing to look out for. Urinary incontinence, urinary retention, fecal incontinence, big red flag. Fecal retention, constipation, sexual dysfunction. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So sexual function, how does the pelvic floor affect that? What can aside from just is it just not, it just doesn't work, or
It'll just stop
is there
working.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, not always. Like if you're
Yeah.
losing an erection really fast, if you're unable to gather one, in a reasonable amount of time,
Yeah.
that. So it's not just like anything, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that your pelvic floor is shot. Though I would say like it's if you're not looking out for it, then it will become a symptom as well of the original dysfunction. But pelvic floor dysfunction can be entirely responsible for erectile dysfunction.
Oh my gosh.
It can be that simple.
That makes me wonder, like, how many men are popping all these pills, right? To like fix the situation. But like realistically, you should probably look at your pelvic floor health, and that could, if it doesn't make it perfect, right, it could help.
For everything. We talked about prostatitis too. Like the number of pills that are out there and the number of dosages and the number of like things that doctors will try before suggesting that you even look at the muscles.
That's so
It's
insane.
amazing. And people will be on like 30 different medications
Right.
before even thinking like maybe I should try something else. Not that it should be that person's responsibility, but like nothing happens in a vacuum. There's always somewhere else to look. And I don't know why it's so hard to look this way, especially for the doctors.
Right. And I mean, we've talked about it before. Like, fine if it's not your thing, right? Like, if that's not your focus, that's not your wheelhouse.
And fine if it's not my thing.
Right.
But like, let's look.
Yep. Instead of just like throw whatever, like your little blue pills. Like you're going to stay on those for God knows how long. Like what are those effects going to be down the road that we don't know about yet, or whatever, where, and the things that I hear as far as like, oh, I got to plan ahead however long, and like, don't let plans change because now I took the blue pill and now I'm stuck like this. Like what? You know what I mean? Like, why is that?
I do. And we are so ultimately, like
crazy.
Societally, we're also so conditioned to believe that the pill is the solution.
Yeah. That's
and
a Band-Aid and not really a great one.
Many people get worse. I have a gentleman in my periphery who I'm friendly with his wife, who keeps getting worse with all these pills. And every time it's like, there's hope. And then it's like, it's not helping. Oh, wait, maybe it's getting worse. It's just,
I can't imagine.
It's sad.
Like, I don't feel bad for men very often.
You've had a UTI, right?
Yeah, like that's
I'm
not.
such a feminist.
You know what I mean? That doesn't seem right, especially because like I feel like if my vagina wasn't working, right, and I now have to take a pill to make it work, I am not like boasting about that, right? Like that doesn't feel good.
We do the same with women though, like UTI, chronic UTIs, right? We'll put them on pill after pill after pill after pill after pill before addressing the muscles.
See, that's just wild.
And you've had a UTI, right?
Totally.
Like, it is so, this shit takes your life over. How can you do anything else? It's just
absolute hell.
Miserable. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And I just, I'm a firm believer that like, let's say you can fix it with a pill. Is that the best thing for your body?
Right.
You still have pelvic floor dysfunction. If it's not the cause, it's probably a symptom.
Totally.
And at that point, now if the pelvic floor is involved and your urinary incontinence is fixed, but your pelvic floor is still involved, now you're setting yourself up for back pain and hip pain because 100% of people.
Yeah. Like what's the spiral is just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Because you just keep putting a Band-Aid pill over XYZ. And like, I get that, fine, like pelvic floor, it may not fix everything, but like it just amazes me how many things it can affect and help with and improve.
Yeah.
And we just don't.
The center of your body.
Yeah.
And all your central functions, like all of the things that I mentioned, your stability, the support for your organs, the continence, the ability to pee, and sex. Like, how critical are those to your life? Those are pretty important things.
I feel like those are all check marks that we should be paying attention to.
They're all important.
We should know all the things about, not just, oh, it's there.
Yeah.
It works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, So crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy. What about stress and mental health?
What about it?
Do those play a factor into men's pelvic floor health and what that
Yes.
can look like?
I am sure that it's not more of a factor in men's health than it is in women's health, but I am sure that it's always more shocking to men to consider that their mental health plays a role.
Right.
That's not true. There are some men who come into my office who are like, I'm super self-aware and I know that when I'm not stressed out, I pee better. But that is not normal.
Yeah,
right?
that's
not
those are not the
common.
super common men coming in.
Actually,
Totally.
most of the time it's like, oh, my so-and-so, my cousin or my doctor or whoever said I should try this, so I'm going to give it one visit and like, thanks for trying.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway.
And 9 times out of 10, I bet they come back because they're just like, oh,
Well,
this is fixing things.
I
We're
almost
feeling
require
better.
that they come back because we've had this
Good.
conversation, right? The pelvic floor
Yeah.
doesn't do anything without consent from the rest of the body, and nothing in the rest of the body happens without the consent from the pelvic floor. I can't do very much in one visit to get me all the right pieces of information. So
Totally.
they do come back, even if they wouldn't choose it.
I like it. I like it.
But yeah, I think I do. It's almost always just like a wait a minute. Like you're telling me that I have to relax.
Yeah.
And I think women kind of like when my husband tells me to relax, let's just not pretend it goes well. It does not go well, right?
Every time.
Yeah.
Calm down.
But like women know that we're supposed to be calmer. Whether that's a feminist issue or not, I don't know. But like, that is not a flex for men. I know how to relax is not a flex, right? It's like,
absolutely not.
I'm super at peace with myself and happy in my day to day and content where I am. Like not a flex. Nope. I don't know why,
Nope.
But it's not.
Yeah,
so,
it's not. It's not a conversation.
Right.
It's not like you're right. Like if we are like, ooh, girl, I am like all the zen these days.
Right.
And let me tell you why. Let me tell you what's working. Let me tell you what I did.
Right.
We're like, yeah, men.
I'm always
No.
moving is a flex. I can't sit still is a flex. I don't sleep is a flex.
Right.
Right. And none of those things are conducive to like understanding how to embody yourself and take a breath.
Right. Breathe.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not, we've talked about belly breathing and like breathing into your bowl. Mm-hmm. I know you men are not breathing into your bowls. I know it. There is no way.
I mean, we're not. Like, we know that we have a pelvic floor to begin with, and we're still not breathing into our bowls.
Yeah. There's no way that they are doing any friggin' belly breathing while they're living their day to day.
Yeah.
No way around it.
So it's it definitely plays a huge role, and I think in some cases it plays a bigger role, if only because in the beginning you have to convince them that relaxing is important, period.
Yeah.
Like not just for your pelvic floor, but for you.
Right.
So
for your sanity.
Yeah.
And everyone around you.
Yeah, right. For your wife. If not for me, for your wife.
Right. Like I feel like even though we know we're not good at it, right? We know that like we're always on go. We're always doing all the things. We don't take time to like breathe and settle that, but we are aware and like it's a thing. And yeah, that is not a conversation I've never heard a man in my life be like, yeah, I feel like I need to be less stressed.
Again, with the relational support too, I think women are so like, take time for yourself. Like we recommend this to each other. We're so supportive of each other having what we need. Like what a gift that is, really.
Absolutely.
I'm so sure that men's friendships out there do exist where this happens.
Yeah, I hope so.
I just don't get the impression, and I wouldn't know, not a male, but like I don't get the impression that it's a really common conversation among, at least your binary.
Right, because it's like, I feel like if they're having conversations about their stress level, they are having those conversations when that stress level is like Mach level. You know what I mean? Like if that's affecting so many things in their body and the breathing, man.
I will say, I am a pelvic floor therapist, and as far as I know, my husband has no pelvic floor dysfunction, but I am not like just having this conversation. I'm like, I should really tell him to take a break. support your men, women.
Yeah.
He needs a break too.
Honey, are you belly breathing?
We just talked about how he's been traveling so much, and I'm like, this is how it affects me.
Oh my gosh, totally.
I know he's stressed out too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if any of you out there want to babysit my kids for a couple weeks,
we got a few around here
then
you can borrow.
We can both get what we need.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, so funny.
It's nonstop.
Oh, it is. It is for all of us.
And that's okay. Like, it's okay that it's nonstop, but like there's it's important also to just like check in with your body and take a breath.
Totally. 100% for all of us men. Okay, so let's get into like what pelvic floor therapy looks like, right? So like, how do you assess men's pelvic floor issues? What does that look like?
Initially, in many of the same ways that I assess women's pelvic floor issues.
Okay.
I will almost always start with like a standing postural assessment, a pelvic bone mobility assessment, where like you're going to do some common movements in my clinic, and I'm going to see if I can see or feel any alterations from norm that that exist in your, from like bottom of your ribs to top of the knees.
Okay.
And hip assessments matter, breathing assessments, rib mobility, head, neck, and jaw stuff. So all of like the kind of things that feed in are the same, and I'll look at all of those. The primary difference is that my initial pelvic exam with women is almost always vaginal, and my initial pelvic exam with men simply cannot be vaginal. So
yep, it's not going to happen.
Right. So that's a rectal.
Okay.
Rectal exam.
Yeah. We know you guys don't like hearing that. But so that is that something you normally do like first appointment, or do you like baby step?
I think
into that?
I usually say the same thing, that it's my preference to do it at the second visit. I get a little bit more like, I need a couple weeks to get comfortable with this from men, so I tend maybe to do it a little bit later with men. But there's always things to work on in the meantime. So
totally.
Also, it does there are some people, not just men, who are like, oh, don't put a finger up there. I really don't like that. That's weird. It's unnatural. It's not abnormal, whatever. And I get that. But there are also people who are like, I am in pain, and if you can fix it, you can do whatever the fuck you want to me.
Absolutely. Yeah. We need to fix this situation.
Yeah. And sexual dysfunction, right, too? Like, if you can give a man his sex life back.
Yeah. He'll let you put anything up there you want, I bet. Just saying.
Right. That's right.
Just
You don't have to tell your wife, dudes.
So funny. So that kind of makes me think of, so I know you do trigger point therapy through the vagina for women. So do you do trigger point therapy through their butt? Okay. And you use like the same tools and stuff?
I do use the same tools. Yeah. Okay. Well, I usually when it comes to tools, I have them use the same tools. I
gotcha.
use the same tool.
Okay. All right. So tools are the similar for them. Okay. That's so funny because it was funny. I won't say who it was, but I have someone in my life who was complaining about his sciatica.
Oh.
And it was just a few days after we had done our episode. And I'm so hateful.
Oh no.
I was like, sounds like you need a finger up your butt. Just like no big deal. And I swear, I wish I had his face was like, I'm sorry, what? Did you just say to me? And I was like, yeah, actually. And like me, Miss Know-It-All, I was like, actually, sciatica can be an issue with your pelvic floor, and you need to see a pelvic floor therapist. And that means they need to stick stuff up your butt. And it was like, that will never happen. And I was like, how miserable are you? Because I bet you're going to think about it at some point.
Pelvic floor, sciatic nerve. Like, tell me that's not related.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, well, do you, boo. Keep hurting. But
right?
I told you what would help. I got some ladies that know what they're doing. Have you ever heard of pelvic floor therapists that are men?
Yeah, I know two.
You do in here, like locally?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yes, and I am gonna I didn't prepare, so I'm blanking on their names entirely. right now, both of them.
Okay, but that's cool to I mean, so okay, there's male options if that
Yes.
helps. I don't know. Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Okay, so what about exercises? I know there's exercises that women can do. Are there different exercises for men, or what would be good for them to like work on?
Largely similar. I think like the thing that's a little bit different that I'm talking to men about when it comes to exercise is frequently like core work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I think that it's always something that we need to look at, but it's men are amazed by the fact that they can't do these simple movements that are a true test of core strength versus other like compensating strength.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I would I'm usually having like more of a conversation about like actually not exercising in the beginning with men
Okay.
because I am not confident that you're getting your strength from the place that we need you to be getting it from if you're going to improve on your pelvic floor.
Gotcha.
Um, I mean, many of the exercises are the same. In the end, it's just like which direction are you approaching it from, I guess.
Okay. Okay. Are there things lifestyle wise that like maybe could be contributing or could help when it comes to men? Like certain things that you hear often, it's like, oh, that is you should not be doing that. That is not a good like you said, like the gym, the working out, the
Yeah.
like
I mean, I think like if you're crushing your core work, like I, I don't have a problem with that. Believe it or not, for all the hate that I talk about sit-ups, I don't have a problem with them if you're doing well. It's just super uncommon that I see people doing them well.
right.
I um I think like we if you're crushing the core work and you're not sure if it's really your core, like
Yeah.
if you're just like getting that six pack and like crunching it all in and like I don't know. I would really love to see if you can do a simple heel slide or,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
um, yeah.
Well, so okay, let's talk about
Oh,
that.
okay.
What when you're saying because I feel like that there's more there. Like, because even me, I'm like, oh, well, wait, do I know? So when you're saying core work,
Mm-hmm.
aside from, oh, I can do 500 sit-ups or whatever, and I have washboard abs. Like, what else what is good core work in your, you know what I mean, in your arena?
Yeah, well, people who wind up with me already know they have a problem. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
just preface everything I say with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, good core work means that your belly isn't puffing when you do it,
Oh,
and
okay.
it means that you're only moving the part of you that you want to be moving. So, um, like let's say you are doing sit-ups and your legs are all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
like probably not getting core stability
Yeah.
from that. I do a lot of exercises in my clinic that are just like to start to help you learn like what do I even have another muscle under my rectus abdominal, my six pack muscle, or what am I using in order to protect my stability? I have people lie on their back and just slide their heel out.
Okay.
And if you can't slide your heel all the way out without tilting your pelvis, tilting it like this way or rotating it this way or this way,
Mm-hmm.
or reaching it this way or this way. If you can't do that, then you're not stabilizing your core through your hip range of motion. And that is just range of motion, right? Super low impact from gravity.
Yeah.
And if you can't do it when you're lying on your back, you definitely aren't doing it when you're walking. And you definitely
Okay.
aren't doing it when you're lifting,
Right.
right?
Okay. Okay. That's a good test,
The
y'all.
core exercises that I give are almost universally super easy for your body and really hard for your brain.
Uh-huh.
And it's a huge pain
Because
in the
it's like a
ass.
retrain. You have to like retrain
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
have thought was right our
And I
whole
am not going
lives.
to lie to you, I don't like doing them. Because when I work out, I want to feel pretty wrecked.
Right,
I don't want to feel
right.
exhausted. I want to feel like exhausted,
Yep, yep. I just killed it.
Yeah,
Totally.
exactly. It isn't the beginning of like core work isn't glorious. It's not
Okay.
fun. It's like
Right.
it doesn't make you feel great. It's like it literally is learning. You just
That's so crazy. Because I mean, yeah, now that I think, like, I don't think And like I did sports. I don't remember anybody ever being like this is the correct way to do things. Like core, that's all I hear in my head is like, okay, you need to be doing those sit-ups and like not worrying about what my hips or my pelvis are doing at all. I don't think I've ever thought about that.
Interesting that you bring up sports because like school level sports I think are such a I mean, my kids are going to play sports. I played sports. It's great. Like there's so much value that comes from that. But in sports, there's a lot of emphasis on like do better, be faster, be stronger, and not any emphasis in how you do it.
Yeah.
And like
Not at all.
we've started learning, I think, in the last like 30 years or so, 40 years, that form will impact injury. But I don't think we have really come to realize that like the deeper levels of that form, like where you get your core strength from, can have impacts that last your entire life.
That's so wild. Because
I
you're
think it's
right.
amazing.
I don't remember ever hearing any sort of conversations like
No.
that at all.
No, that's right. I think the one exception to that is music.
Oh.
Vocalists and wind instrument players
Right, because
are
they have to be like
more and more educated to use their diaphragm and their pelvis to produce force.
Oh, okay. So they're onto something.
They're onto something. Yeah, it's very cool working with vocalists.
That's rad. Huh.
But like your track runners are not learning to breathe in their bellies.
Right. Right. The football players,
No.
you know, like
No, right.
that's not
Yeah. And I
yeah,
think
how
that's like,
much
I do kind of get that. I don't know when it was that like, I don't even know if it's out there in the world that this stuff matters, you know?
Right.
I don't expect that your like football coach is aware that pelvic floor dysfunction will go, you know, 20 years past your high school all-star career.
Totally.
I don't know that that's out there in the world. So I don't know if it's even their fault, right?
Yeah.
It's just...
I mean, yeah, it's not no blame on anyone at
Yeah.
all. It just is it's alarming though to think, you know, that's because I mean, that was my go-to. Like I said, like from what I know and what I remember, those are just not conversations. And even like just weightlifting class in high school, right? Like I remember like you said, form, you needed to have, that's what they were teaching us so that you like don't get injuries. But thinking about internally and the fact that again, like you ain't playing no sports if your pelvic bowl is not doing what it needs to be doing. Like it's actually the reason why you can do all these things.
Right. Strengthen from the inside out, right? Not from the outside in.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I had a client a long time ago when I was at the hospital who like just learning to breathe through movement. Just that's it. Just not holding your breath. Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. And she like on her 4th visit or something was like, you know what's actually amazing is that I'm stronger when I don't hold my breath. So you don't like the compensations that you develop. Probably nobody ever told her to hold her breath, right?
Right. It's just what but nobody ever told her not to.
And like if she was being rushed in some capacity to be stronger or better, like that's cognitive space that she's, and I don't know if you've ever been stressed out, but like breathing not happening, right?
Right.
So it could just be habit that starts informing that.
Yeah.
That pattern, you know, for her and for so many of us. Like
totally.
People are amazed when they start paying attention. I am amazed when I start paying attention. When I pick up something heavy, like say my 50-pound 4-year-old, you know,
Absolutely.
I am definitely doing like the,
yeah.
And just sitting here on the couch demonstrating that to you, I can feel my pelvic floor be like, oops, gotta support you. So like,
yeah.
You know, it matters.
Yeah, it's huge. And you're right. It is. I feel like it's habit.
Right.
That we all naturally do that. And then if there's not information or there's not a conversation happening that's like, hey, that's not the best way to do it. Because when you told me we're talking, you know, that was the first time I had ever heard that, you know, and I have lifted a lot of babies and never.
Yeah.
I always hold my breath. I know it.
Did you ever?
100%.
Do you know who Chris Sharma is?
That name sounds so familiar.
He's a rock climber.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, at least I know him for the noises that he makes on the rock. He's
Oh,
like the guy, you know?
totally.
It's so
Like the
funny.
tennis players that are
Yeah.
like,
So
yep,
like,
yep.
you know, like there's healthy breathing and then there's like you're still holding your breath, dude. You're just doing it with a big sound.
Right. Yep, with some force behind
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Oh my
I
gosh.
just think it's so funny. So
So
men, dudes,
funny.
you're holding your breath too, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yep. And
Frequently.
we don't even know it. We
Right.
don't even think about it.
Right. Right. And again, like that who knows why that compensation was created for you because you actually are so much stronger
Right.
if you can use your core instead of like just forcing it to create pressure in your abdomen.
So wild.
Yeah.
So, homework. We need
Breathing.
to
It's just
be,
always breathing.
yeah, fixes all the things, so many things.
It's helpful for sure.
Okay, what about what are misconceptions and like things that you hear in your practice that you're like, okay, we need to clear this up?
I'm not drinking water because I don't want to have to pee. I'm not drinking
Uh,
water because I don't want to have to pee. Every day.
Not a good plan.
Not a good plan. No. Not intuitive that it's not a good plan. I don't judge you for not knowing that, but really not a good plan. Bladder likes one thing and it's water. And I will say, I recently had a conversation with somebody who was like, I was drinking so much water. And what I had to do is actually take more calories, more food. It is true that if you're pounding your body with water and you don't have the other nutrients in your body to store that water, then it will go right to your bladder. That is true.
Okay.
But most of us are not in the position where we're taking too much water and not enough
Yeah.
other stuff. Certainly, most of us are not even in the position to begin with that we're taking too much water. So,
Totally. Because I'm accounting all the time. I'm like, girl, you are far behind.
It's
We are behind on what we need to be drinking.
every single day. Somebody, when I ask how much water are you taking, people say, "Oh, I drink plenty of water." And every single day, I say, "How much is plenty?" Because I am not at all confident that plenty of water is more than 30 ounces.
Yeah. And I'm happy if I get my 32 in.
Totally.
And that's,
I don't know why it's so hard. It's hard for me too.
it is. And it's, okay. So the misconception, not drinking, not stopping your water intake so that you're not peeing. Because what does that look like? Like if you're having your normal intake, then you're peeing the right amount, or does it just kind of regulate itself? Like, because men have to have they need to know their facts. So, yeah.
It depends. It depends on how much of your problem is because of bladder irritation. So like if your bladder is super irritated because you're just like pounding it with caffeine or acid or like aged cheese or whatever, really. If your bladder is annoyed that it has all that, what I refer to as the crap in it, then like more water will really make a big dent in the problem. If your bladder is annoyed because your pelvic floor is tight, then it might not make as big a dent in the problem, but it's going to be very hard to unwind a pelvic floor that is protecting an annoyed bladder, even if that annoyance isn't making all its way up to your cognitive brain.
Gotcha.
So you may not think my bladder is annoyed, but if you hydrate better, your pelvic floor and all your muscles and all of you, frankly, is just going to have an easier time unwinding.
Got it. Totally makes sense.
And I was just thinking of something else too. I don't remember what it was.
Okay. Well, if it comes back to you, let me know. What do you feel like are the biggest barriers to men coming and seeking help from you guys?
There's two. The first is I just really am not into an anorectal exam, which I would actually say I think is secondary to the first one, which is like, this is voodoo medicine.
Oh, okay.
And like, if my doctor, if it wasn't his first suggestion, then it doesn't mean anything. Or if my doctor said, I don't know how that could help you, then it can't be worth anything. Like, not even to put too fine a point on the fact that so many doctors just have not a clue about physicians, don't have a clue about the pelvic floor muscles and how they work and how they can make a difference. And like, some do, and that's amazing, and others don't, and that's, like, it's only a problem if they're then telling their patients not to pursue this therapy. But like,
Right.
I don't know. I have complicated feelings about it.
Understandable.
But if a man to begin with has never heard of this before, and then his doctor says something like, well, not for you really, like that's not, you don't have to do Kegels. Of course you don't have to do Kegels. What do you think we do in my office? You know, really? Like, come on, you got this, squeeze harder. No, that's not it. You know?
Pick up the blueberry.
I do talk about the blueberry a lot.
I love it.
But I think there's a really common conception among men that it's like, I don't know, like the word that's coming, yoga has a lot of value, but I don't know why I think this, like that men are like, it's like yoga, you know, it's not a real workout. I love yoga. I think it can be a very real workout, but like, I don't know. Or like, I don't think golf is a sport. So there.
Yep, absolutely.
That doesn't make it any less of a sport.
So funny.
If any of my clients, I have like 10 golfers on my caseload right now.
Oh my gosh, so great. See, you golfers need to be talking to each other.
Actually, golfers are excellent clients. This repetitive twisting that golfers are doing, like through the hip with like shoulder protraction, it's so good for business. Keep on golfing.
So great. And if you haven't seen her yet,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, what is one indication that you should see a pelvic floor PT? You've been golfing before.
Yeah. Well, that's so funny because the one with the sciatica problems that I was talking about, you need a finger up your butt, is a total golfer.
Of course.
Always. And in fact, that's how the conversation started, was like, oh, I got my swing down so much better. And then it was like, but God, my sciatica hurts so bad. See, y'all, so funny. Okay, so obviously we're having this conversation because I feel like we need to support the men in our lives when they have these things going on. Because like you said, I mean, I get it. The whole like voodoo situation, like I am sure that for so many men, if they don't know about it, which they most likely don't, and then they hear about it, they think that's for women. Like that's just like yoga. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's for girls. Right. Pilates. I've seen plenty of men who could like whoop some serious tush because they've been doing yoga and Pilates.
For sure.
So clearly we know it's not true, but like I could totally see that just like being the go-to of like, oh no, I'm not. No. And I don't have a vagina. Like you said, and I don't need to do Kegels. So they can't possibly help me, which is just crazy. But so we clearly as women can support them. So what are the best ways that you feel like partners can support the men in their lives who might be going through this kind of stuff? Like just having those conversations or...
I mean, lots of ways. If you yourself have been to a pelvic floor therapist, then you've learned a lot about core strength and pelvic floor range of motion and how it interacts with the rest of the body, I hope. And you know, just by like knowing those things and being vocal about them, we can kind of subtly inform the men in our lives, right?
Instead of just telling them they need a finger up the butt.
Well, and and also ourselves.
We could be nicer.
And ourselves assuming that it's a women's issue, right?
Yeah. I mean, because I was surprised. I had no, and it seems so silly because it's like, okay, we have the... But in my mind, I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's really interesting. People who know that I'm a pelvic floor therapist assume that I work with pregnant and postpartum women, or that or assume that I work with older women. Nobody assumes that I work with men, and most people don't assume that I work with like just people. Right? Like, because everybody's got one.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny.
We are all walking around this earth with one.
Yeah. I think another way that you can support the men in your lives with this issue is to remind them that it's actually super common. Like, look up the statistics. I can't think up the numbers. It's like 39% of male athletes have pelvic floor dysfunction. Like, and that's like urinary incontinence, just strictly this type of pelvic floor dysfunction. So not even like constipation or sexual dysfunction. Like,
see, that's so wild, especially because like athletes, like I feel like the like go-to is like to think of them as this like machismo, like, you know, and y'all are leaking.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
if
And
that's
if you're leaking, like, that's not normal.
right,
bro.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think we can support them in that way. We can just
Okay.
like gently let them know that it's actually really not uncommon
Right.
for men to have pelvic floor dysfunction as well. And persistence, like gentle persistence is so, like if he says, no, my doctor said, like, don't drop it. When he
Right.
tries the 12th drug and it makes it worse, or he's like signing up for surgery that's going to make him impotent,
Oh my
like
gosh, so scary.
maybe a good time to bring it up again.
Right. And the fact that that stuff happens, I'm sure, so regularly without ever looking into
All the time. Do
what.
you know, this is the like really one of the best things that I learned in PT school. Men get their testicles removed because of testicular pain and still have testicular pain. Because the problem isn't the testicle, the problem is the nerve that goes to the testicle and it's being impinged in the pelvic floor.
Are you serious?
I am serious. Like this is major surgery, right? So like,
I'm-
don't do that without seeing a pelvic floor therapist.
Ah.
Orchiotomies.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That seems unbelievable.
It's just such a small, like, I feel like it's such a small thing to just like check.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just find out.
Just one appointment.
Yeah.
Just one before you go chopping bits off.
3 if you're at my clinic, but yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh.
Really? Yeah, I know, exactly. Before you start mutilating your body. I mean, that might be the right answer.
Right.
Right?
But
hysterectomies are still a thing.
Yep.
Not because it's sometimes not pelvic floor dysfunction, but like because sometimes that won't fix it. But like, is that your first line of defense?
Whoo-wee.
Yeah.
And I just can't imagine. I can't. Again, here I am talking trash, but like men are so whiny. You know what I mean? Like they really are. They get sick or they get hurt, and it's like we're whiny, but like they're extra whiny. I cannot imagine a man going through something like that. Okay. And then turn around and you still have the same problem.
I know. Well,
Like, it's still
anybody
there.
like that, it makes my heart hurt.
Yeah, that's unreal.
It's just,
man. See,
Yeah.
this is why we are having this conversation, because
you just don't need to have your testicle removed or your prostate removed, right? Like try this first.
I mean, yeah, that's, like I said, I don't know a lot about these things, but I feel like it's so common to hear about prostate issues and like to know that like that and your pelvic floor are so intertwined and that you're not encompassing the other side of what could potentially be helping. Fine, maybe there is whatever XYZ wrong with your prostate, but there are so many things that could be like looked at or assist in the solution.
Right. And given the risks of
knowledge.
prostatectomy, like the recovery time and the challenges that can come from that, like again, like prostate cancer, that's a thing. Get it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, given how challenging it can be to recover from that procedure or radiation too, which, that's just, okay, I'm totally different tangent there. So let's just stick with prostatectomy. If you're getting a prostatectomy because of these symptoms and not because of cancer, right?
Yeah.
Maybe your quality of life doesn't go back to like in your mid-20s, but if it can be good enough that you can still enjoy sex with your spouse, or if it can be good enough that you can still enjoy drinking wine on an evening boat ride, like maybe that is okay.
Totally.
Find out, like if the doctor says this isn't going to solve your problem, yes, understood that it's not going to solve my problem, but is it going to make enough of a difference that I can do my life the way that I want to? Because there's no guarantee that after having it out that you'll be able to do your life that you want to. It'll just be different ways.
Right. Oh, man. I hope y'all are listening. Okay, so is there anything that you feel like we need to make sure that we cover and hit that I may have missed, being the expert and all?
Oh gosh, wow, on the spot. Oh gosh, I'm sure that there are so many things that I would love to dive into. You know, somebody tomorrow or Monday is going to walk into my office and ask a great question, and I'm going to be like, man,
Totally.
that's the thing we should have talked about. Oh, I will say this. You asked me about like symptoms and like what might bring somebody into my office for a
Yeah.
male-bodied person. Prolapse is something that we think of as a strictly female issue because women do have more space in the pelvic bowl than men do.
Okay.
But dudes, you got rectums and things will slip into that. And if you're feeling like there's a barrier to pooping, if it's like I can't poop because there's a shelf there, or when I poop it hurts and it feels like it comes out of me, prolapse is a thing for men too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, but
Right.
yeah, that's not anything. You know what I mean? That is certainly not a conversation anyone's having.
A rectal prolapse is not a fun event.
Oh my gosh. Okay, see, you guys need to know about these things because
Well, because you'll chalk it up to constipation.
yeah,
I
was
feel like
just
I
gonna
can't
say,
poop around the
that's
shelf, so I take
yeah.
I take whatever it is, Miralax like 3 times a day just to keep it runny enough. But that causes other problems because then I feel like I'm running to the bathroom every 30 minutes to have what might turn out to be a bowel movement. I don't know, you know.
Totally. Yep.
Worth a look.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, see, maybe that'll get you guys in there. Things can fall out of your butt.
Things can fall out of your butt.
So you should see a pelvic floor therapist so we can avoid all these things. Yeah, because that is definitely, I mean, it totally makes sense, but it is such a women, that's your
Right.
go-to
Prolapse
is
is a women's
women.
health issue. Period.
Absolutely.
Right.
You just, no knowledge about that at all. No conversation, no talks. But
it does happen.
man, that's serious business right there.
Yeah, that would not be fun.
Oh my gosh.
And it really is like there are so many ways to prevent that. Like, weightlifting with a weight belt.
Okay.
Like all that does is stand in for your deep core stability.
Oh.
So then you like almost by definition, if you're wearing it, you don't have the deep core stability to do what you're trying to do.
Uh-huh.
So then what do you think you're doing to your pelvic floor? Because I can pretty much guarantee you're not wearing a pelvic floor belt.
Yeah.
And that like that's what causes prolapse is the straining into the pelvis. So like should you not wear a weight belt? I am pretty solidly of the opinion that no, you should not wear a weight belt, but I understand that people have goals that are different from mine that you may not be able to meet without one, and that's fine. But like you better make sure that your pelvic floor is up to the challenge.
Right. That's a big one. I mean, because yeah, men and the weightlifting, and don't get me wrong, there are women who are doing the same. Like I fully get it, but that is such a like thing.
Right.
And
More without
right.
how.
And the thought behind like, oh, I lifted all this weight and I got all my reps in and like I smashed it.
Right. My 1 rep max, my PR.
Mm-hmm. But what's happening inside is wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I think the end result turns out to be if you have a symptom that is in your back, in your hips, in your pelvis, in your urinary or fecal system, urinary or intestinal bowel system, digestive, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
or your sex life, then
Yeah.
maybe it's just worth exploring. And if you don't have a symptom that can be wrapped up in one of those things, like with women, I say it all the time, just get checked out, just get checked out. And I don't know why that should be different for men.
That's where my brain goes to is
Yeah.
like, just the fact that again, like your pelvic bowl holds up your whole entire body. It's the reason everything functions and like it's there. It's like major.
Yeah. And you've got goals,
Why-
right? Like maybe your goals aren't your like PR at the gym. Maybe your goals aren't to run ultramarathon. My husband runs ultramarathons. So I know
Oh,
it's like the
man.
athletic thing that is just like the apple of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe your goals aren't those things, but like you've got goals.
Totally.
Just make sure your body is supporting those goals
Yep.
and that
Why-
you're supporting your
mean,
body in pursuit of those goals.
Well, and even if your goal is just to have the healthiest body you can have,
Yeah.
especially knowing that as you age, your body goes through things and things change.
Right.
And like, to have even just a base level knowledge of like, okay, this is where I am. This is what's normal. This feels right. These things are good. That way, 10 years down the line,
you're not in my
it's
office for
like,
12 visits.
right. Like you have, or if something comes up, you're recognizing
You're
it
knowing.
way before something's falling out of your butt.
Yes.
I mean,
always people ask me like, when should somebody see a pelvic floor therapist? And for women, the
Yeah.
first of my 4 times is in puberty. And I think the same should be true for men. I just think it should be a part of sex ed to like have pelvic floor awareness and knowledge. And it's just not. And
not at all.
and for men too, like what is normal? What's not normal? When it like, what should you be looking for in your partner or your spouse or somebody that you care about? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, it feels less achievable to me to have men just get checked out. I think I'm
Absolutely.
sure that's my own stuff, but I
Well,
think
I
it's
mean-
just as valuable.
Yeah, I do. And I'm with you because I mean, again, that's why we're doing this. Like,
Right.
is because I don't see in my brain, I feel like men will wait until something's falling out of their butt. You know what I mean? They don't want to go to the
Yes.
doctor. So
Yeah.
they certainly don't want to go to a pelvic floor therapist. It's like, what are you talking about?
Right.
But, and knowing us as women, we have babies, we do all these things and we don't know anything about there's so many things that we don't know.
Yeah.
And we do have these conversations about our stress levels and where we're at. And we are open about, oh, I just peed a little. That like the fact that men are absolutely not in that same space,
Right.
but it's just as important for them. I'm sure that the idea of just going in for just check out your base levels and know what's going on, get in touch with it.
It's as important as like keeping up with your core strength.
Yeah, see?
It's as maybe more important just because of how like
I mean, it's
how
all
much
connected.
because you don't know it, you don't talk to it, right?
Yeah.
So like if you're doing your sit-ups because you care about your core, you should be going to a pelvic floor PT and being told not to do sit-ups anymore.
Totally. Or at least what you're doing, make sure it's right. Like that's, you know what I mean? If your goals are your PR or your washboard abs, like, don't you want to make sure that like everything is like,
I'm just getting excited right
good
now
to
because all of
go?
these dudes who think they're strong are gonna like learn how much stronger they can be if their
Yeah.
pelvic floor is part of their team.
right. Like everybody works together,
Yeah.
but you're leaving like the whole big
The
one
whole
out.
bottom, like literally
Right.
the bottom, the whole bottom of the can is just like not, you know?
Insane.
Is it attached? Is it not attached? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just free balling here, just going through life, like insane. Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So, final advice or info that you feel like you want to leave us with.
I think that like, yeah, just I'm assuming that mostly women are listening to this podcast. Like, just know that you're the men that you love who are whining about whatever they're whining about. Like there are options for them too.
Totally.
Maybe it's not me, right? But think outside the box. Like
Yeah,
maybe
I
it's not
mean-
pelvic floor at all. Maybe it's, I don't know, but like it's more than just the urologist.
Yeah.
That's one route.
Yeah, your regular doctor physician is not the end all be all.
Right.
So, yeah, just us being aware.
And a good one knows that, right? A good one knows when it's time to refer you to somebody else.
Right. I really hope eventually we get more good ones. 'Cause
Yeah.
it just, I mean, and not, I feel like such a jerk saying that because
I know,
it's like, I
because-
have so much respect for like anybody who went through any sort of medical school, anything. Like you have so much knowledge. Like I don't
Right.
want to take away from that.
Right.
But it just,
And
it's-
because the good ones who are out there, like you don't want to take something away from them by being like, oh, this place is so overrun by
Right.
not good ones. But really, it's like, it's so common, especially in men's health, to hear like, that's not what you need.
yeah.
And, you know, respectfully, how do you know?
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Let's just explore all the options.
Yeah.
Especially before going
That
and
would be
doing
like
major
me.
things.
I feel like that would be like me saying like, oh, that drug, that's not what you need. Like,
right.
I don't know that. I don't know shit about that drug.
Yep, that is not my thing.
Not my
Like,
lane.
that needs to be a thing that we say. Like,
Right.
nope, that's not my arena.
Nope.
You know, I'm not telling you how to change your brakes because I don't know.
Right.
Not my thing.
Not my thing.
So I'm just
I am
saying.
definitely going to crash your car if you let me change your brakes.
Right. We're going to have way more problems. I promise you that. For sure. For sure. Yeah. In fact, good luck getting everything back together in the first place. I'm just like, I could take it all off, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wild. Absolutely wild. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for coming back
It's always
and hanging out with us. And guys, I hope you're out there. I hope you're listening. I hope you're taking on some of this advice. Women, let's just like listen to these men and what they're going through. And like Lindsay said, maybe they don't want to hear it the first time, but when they keep whining, we could just gently keep suggesting that there are amazing people and options out there that could be very helpful to them.
If they're anything like the men in my life, they're eventually going to be like, honey, I had a great idea.
Oh,
I should see a pelvic floor PT.
you are so right. 1,000%. 1,000%. Absolutely. Like they never heard it. Like like you never once mentioned it, brought it up, sent a Google article, like nothing. Oh my God, baby,
like we've been whispering it into their ears while they sleep. Pelvic floor, pelvic floor.
So funny. Yeah. Yeah. Whispering into their phone.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pop that one up for him.
Indoctrination.
Oh my gosh. So funny. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They will. They will. Like they have just solved all the problems.
Also, if they're anything like the men in my life, they've been whining and they are used to me going, ugh, stop whining. So we could also do better.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely could. But, you know, that's why I'm single. So.
I mean, I could do better,
Just
and
kidding.
for better or worse, I'm married. So.
Yeah, but see, you know,
Ain't nothing
I
wrong
was
with
like,
you, girl. It's not
oh, man, like I do talk a lot of trash about that. The other day, I was just like, I'm so glad I don't have to share my bed. Like, you're hot and sweaty. Keep your breath over there.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a king-size bed, and I still am like, can you please give me more space?
Girl, I just, you know, like, I feel like cuddling is like a 5-minute process. You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, yeah, you're cute. Okay, that's enough.
That's enough. That's good. Yes.
Okay, Scoot.
I know. He's so hot.
Yeah.
It's just like...
They're furnaces.
And he's got a whole body that I have to contend with. I just would rather be over there.
Yep, I want my space. I need to have my leg out. And now I'm getting hot in the middle of the night, so I certainly am just... yeah. Single life is good sometimes.
I did wake up, though, in the middle of the night the other night. I was having a dream. My husband had to hit me because I was like, you know, like the talking, like, I don't know, weird noises
mumbling
or
whatever.
Yeah. And then I had to remember that it sometimes sucks for him, too, to share a bed with me. So
it's just, we're all just in this together.
That's right.
In one way or another.
That's right. I try not to hate on it too much.
Oh, I mean, we like them. We'll keep them around. The ones that are around, we'll keep them around. I do talk about their complaining a lot. So I could give them some space.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we will think of more reasons for you to come back and hang out with us.
I love it. It's fun.
There's so much to get into. So we will see you soon.
Okay.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Thank you.